Welcome, all my friends in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc. I'm your host, Vita Verdon. I've got a good show for you tonight, so quickly go get your coffee, your Pepsi, your beer, sit down, relax, bring a paper and pencil with you, and I'll tell you what this show's going to be about. You know, we've been on the air now. We're in our 13th, we're halfway through our 13th year. And we had a website for a very long time, and Microsoft was hosting our website. And unbeknownst to me, because of a lot of issues, they sold out to an Australian company. And because of a lot of unforeseen things that happened, I wasn't notified until the day they pulled the whole website off the air and into Australia. Well, I tell you, it was so complicated. It's been 5 months going back and forth. We were getting some help from College of Lake County, and God bless them, they have given us a lot of help throughout the years. And we were faxing, we were writing letters, we were emailing, we even telephoned. We were telephoning back and forth, and every time we'd get to a certain point to what I wanted was just the domain name back out. And we were getting nowhere fast. So in our utter frustration, we looked for the problem solvers around. And years back, both the producer of the show, who happens to be Gloria Shapiro, and myself, had used this organization. And it's an organization called SCORE. And we're going to hear what this SCORE is all about. And I'm telling you, they saved our life. What we were working on for more than 5 months, we sat down to these 2 good-looking gentlemen that I have with me here today, and within a half an hour, they solved all our problems. So you got to listen to what these guys have to say. They got information that's going to help you out of any dilemma that you have. If they don't have it, they know who has it and how to direct you. Now, the first one over here to my right is Phil Hartung. We're so happy to have you here today. And the next one, oh, help me say the name right, Lord. It's Norman Latowski. Yeah. Did I say it right?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, I did it. You know, and tell us what that means. Let us.
We used to learn how to spell it as a child by saying "let of sky."
Let us sky. Isn't that cute? Because we have somebody here, pass el agua, and I always call him pass the water, you know, pass the aqua. And so anyway, before we get into the definition of SCORE and what it means, you know, these people out there, they know me. We're good friends. And so what they want to know is first a little bit about you and then a little bit about you, because they like to get up close and personal, and then they want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm a SCORE mentor, and I've been a mentor with SCORE, a volunteer with SCORE. We're a volunteer organization for about 12 or 13 years. Started in Minneapolis when we were...
Before you go into that, they want to know about you personally.
Well, retired. I was getting there.
Okay.
My wife and I were living in Minneapolis, working for a company called Shop NBC, which you can find on cable. It's a cable shopping channel. And retired from that and went immediately to work volunteer with SCORE, which I've done for the last 12 years. Prior to living in Minneapolis and working for Shop NBC, worked for a joint venture that included Montgomery Ward and Fingerhut, worked for a paint manufacturing company, spent a lot of time with Montgomery Ward in the catalog business, started my career back a long time ago with a petroleum refining company, marketing, selling gasoline.
And how about for you?
Well, I've actually started out in accounting. I was a CPA in industry. Was in that field for about 25 years, actually, or 30 years. And then I got into software consulting, which kind of became a passion. That was a great deal of fun. And the last 7 years, I started my own software consulting firm. And then finally, I just said it was time. I wasn't going to get on that airplane anymore, and that's when I retired. And it was a great deal of fun.
Uh-huh.
And then Phil is the one that got me into SCORE.
Well, the two of you are neighbors, right?
Yes, we are.
Uh-huh. So then he brought you in along what he was doing. Well, first of all, let's talk about SCORE. What is SCORE? So we can let our friends out there know.
SCORE is a national organization of volunteers. There's something like 13,000 SCORE mentors, SCORE volunteers throughout the country. It's a national organization. Our purpose, our goal is to work with folks that are in small business or want to start a small business. And in a number of ways, we sit down, and in other ways, work with them in terms of starting a business, in terms of working on business problems, marketing or finance. And we operate in a number of ways, but again, it's all volunteers, and the services are free to anyone in a small business that has an issue that they'd like to bring to our attention.
And I might add, we also do workshops.
Uh-huh.
So if you're starting in business, we have what we call a certification series, where you'll start one workshop of how to start a business. 2 might be marketing. 3 might be the cash forecasting and planning. And a whole series. We also have some on web design, on taking your business online. And those are a great deal of help for new folks that are coming on.
Well, I know I live in Libertyville, Illinois, and we film actually out of Waukegan, Illinois, but I know that there's a downtown office in the Chicago area,
Yes.
but then locals. So the place that we went, Gloria and I went and had the meeting with the two of you was in Mundelein, Illinois, in the Fremont Library.
Yes, and
Do
we both work there, but we also have an office. We alternate Monday evenings. We have a location at College of Lake County in Grays Lake.
Within the Chicago metropolitan area, we have some 30 locations where we do mentoring, where if those folks that are interested, they can make an appointment with us and come and sit down. For instance, among those 30 is the Evanston Public Library, the Wilmette Public Library, the Skokie Public Library, the Northbrook Chamber of Commerce. So just convenient to hear where we are now, Vita. There are any number of locations where we work with clients. We also, if you let us know and you're in business, we very happy to come out and sit down with you at your place of business, so that there's a couple of ways to contact us.
Well, I know that the graphics of this show is putting up the number where they could reach and also the national number, right?
The national website.
The national website and then the other website.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 websites will be up there.
Good.
So they can contact you there. Well, getting back to what my problem was I was searching to get a surname, my domain name, out of Australia, which was the abbreviation of Senior Issues, etc. And sitting down with the two of you, it was so simple, it evaded us. We just used our full name, Senior Issues, etc. And you told us to go to GoDaddy, which we did, and within a week we had a website put up. It was, and going to GoDaddy was so simple. They give a structurization that you buy, and it's just filling in the data. We have a very simple website, but it was not any kind of complicated process, you know, and it couldn't have been closer to us, simpler to do. And we were so excited and delighted how simple it was to solve this problem. Now, I imagine that you have all different kinds of problems coming to you.
Yeah, we do. As we mentioned, we work with clients or folks that want to start a business. We have a fair number of people coming in that have some basic questions on what kind of business organization, how do I market my product, how do I find financing for my company. So we work at that level. We also work with folks that have been in business for quite a while that have particular issues. again, related to marketing or financing or operations. Sometimes it's business has been going well for a while and sales have dropped off, and we talk about how to bring the sales back and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And Norm, what have you come up against recently?
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting. We sort of have different kinds of clients, and we each have specializations. From my finance background, I tend to look at a client and I start asking them about their business plans and can they make money. Phil looks at them and looks at marketing sides of it. But many of them, especially those coming into business, they have some specific questions. One group of people are kind of afraid, will I get all the government requirements right? Am I going to have the government on my side? So I kind of work with that area with them.
Oh, well, that's really good. Well, I'll tell you, we're going to go into deeper some of your case studies, but right now what I'm going to go into is Vita's Pearls of Wisdom. Now, my Pearls of Wisdom is this. This show that we're filming now, you could see it a year from now online, but right now, this is the beginning of the holiday season. And I have a couple tips I want to give to seniors. First of all, you know, years back, I had a really bad fall. And I am careful ever since then. You have to watch yourself with falls. And if it gets slick outside, and if you have a cane, one of the tips I want to give you is if you go to any surgical supply house, any medical supply house, they sell, it's a little tiny implement you put on the bottom of your cane and you flip it down, and what it has is spikes in it. So if there's ice on the ground, you can just put this thing down and it will secure you. And it's relatively inexpensive. I asked somebody how much it costs, and they said it was less than $10. And I think that's a really good tip for you. Now, the next tip I had for you is, I know everybody is in such a fury right now of, oh, what am I going to get for Christmas? And as seniors, for your kids, I know that, you know, money is tight, and it's been tight for quite a while. So why don't you go through your house and find out something that one of your kids or your relatives really loved and give them that. You know, that is a gift of love. And sit down and write a card to these people. I know that I have a crew of 12 here, and I also have a few other groups that I lead, and I know that everybody likes the good old days they talk about, you know, and something homemade. So I actually start making cookies in October, and what I do is, you know, I found a place where I could freeze them, and that works out just fine, so that I could give in all these groups that I'm involved with some homemade cookies, and then that's just like the good old days. And another thing is write down, make yourself a card, and just use things like you can use doilies and make yourself a fancy card. And on this card, put, you know, like they'll say how many days to Christmas in the Advent calendar, put all the different reasons you appreciate this person and what you appreciate about this person. And what that is something that goes right to the heart. And whoever you're giving this to, when you write this from your heart to their heart, they're going to appreciate that more than, say, $100 gift. Because what you are is you are consolidating like a bundle of love and sending that off. And that is, you know, a gift of loving thoughtfulness. And that's appreciated more than anything. And watch yourself in your apartment. What I've done in my apartment is, you know how you make something child-proof? You make something fall-proof. I've taken out all my rugs. But enough of these tips. Let's get back to this business's score, because they got a lot more to tell you. Okay, let's get down to some cases. Now, I know the two of you differ in your expertise.
Well, we do, but I think, first of all, in terms of cases, SCORE we are very conscientious about confidentiality. So that there's a couple of companies that we can talk about, Vita, because they've given us permission.
Okay.
But in general, we don't, if you come and talk to us, we tell you we're not going to tell anybody about it, and even though we're volunteers, we're very serious about that. But there are a couple of cases that Norm and I have, a couple of clients that Norm and I have worked on together and continue to work with, and they're on our website. So if you go to our chicago.org website and click on success stories, there are any number of cases. A couple of, I'll let Norm talk about Chicago School Supply, which is one of them, but let me talk about Ying's Kitchen. Ying's Kitchen is a local manufacturer, distributor of Asian cooking sauces. And Ying and her family, it's a family-run business, very successful. They came to us a year or 2 years ago dealing with a variety of issues, from dealing with their major distributor to dealing with their manufacturing operations, some marketing issues. And we met with them once a month, or in some cases at the beginning once a week, and basically work through them and help them talk through some of these issues. And during that time, they've added any number of, I think they're in something like 140 stores now in 5 states, and they've grown and doing very well. And since they're a client of SCORE, you can find about them on our website, but you also go to in the grocery store and look for Ying's Kitchen's cooking sauces.
Good. And we have another one, Chicago School Supply. It's an amazing little company, started by a very young man. One day we were doing some mentoring downtown. We had what they called the American Express. We called it speed mentoring. We had about half an hour with a client, and in walks this young man toward the end of the day, and he had this big plan, business plan that was just dog-eared, but he had been using it and trying to work with his business of selling school supplies to the Chicago school system. And he had determined what he did best, how he could deliver quicker, how he could give them what they wanted, and really service the client. But he really didn't know how to grow. And we began working with him. He had no employees, or he had one employee, I think a part-time administrative person. And we sort of became what we call his advisory board. We go down about once a quarter and we sit with him. We go over what he needs to do. He's hired a number of people by now. He's grown exponentially and done very, very well. It's a really exciting company to watch. And that gives us a great deal of satisfaction.
Oh, that is good. I know that for myself, you know, when I started this show, I said, you know, when it ceases to be fun, I'm out of here. But, you know, after 13 years, it's still fun, you know. And do you find that what you're doing, you get a gratification from it?
Oh, very much so. I say a couple of areas. One is I just enjoy meeting the people. Most of my time, I'm not involved so much in the administration of what we do as much as I just like to sit down and talk to the folks, like talking to you, Vita, when you came in to see us. You learn a lot. You learn a lot the people, enjoy the people, wherever they are in the stage of their business, however many, whether it's beginning issues or ongoing problems that they're having with their business. I really enjoy meeting and talking to the people. That is very rewarding.
Is it a difference in doing this volunteering than you did on your job? You have a different sense?
Well, yeah, yes. When you're there's a different kind of pressure.
It's a different kind of pressure.
Yes, it certainly is. And so that it's relaxing. Just meeting the people is enjoyable. The other thing, in terms of business, though, business is like everything else in the world. Business is changing so much and so rapidly. Were I not involved in SCORE, I would not near as be up to date on what's happening in the world of commerce as I am. Talking to folks about current problems forces you to be up to date. Our organization encourages us to stay up to date. We're required to maintain our own credentials in terms of going on the world. I wouldn't know near as much about using the web for business as I do if I hadn't been involved with SCORE.
Oh, that's very interesting. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel really the same way, but something that's really, it's been, I serve And as an administrative position, as well as being a mentor. And I've done several things. The last couple of years ago, I did what we called mentor development, and I actually monitored the continuing education. Every mentor has to take 9 hours of continuing education as courses. I also do, and it's really exciting, is email counseling. Someone will write to us through an email, and I'll get an email, and I'll have to work with them on a very specific, narrow area in which
So you
take
do
research.
Counseling through email?
Yes, we do counseling through
Oh,
email
that's
as well
interesting.
as.
That's today's technology.
Yeah.
You never would hear of that before.
It sort of keeps you so alert, and you
Right.
learn so many different things.
Now, is there any main pulse of a problem that people are coming with, general?
A lot of them, there's almost two phases. One
what
is talking about people going into their own business for the first time.
Okay, that's one phase.
Yeah.
That's the startup phase.
Yes, and
Okay.
then others are really in-business clients who
And
come
have
to us.
problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now in your expertise, if you don't have the wherewithal, or the knowledge to help them out, then you find a way to direct them?
Absolutely, and one of the things that's really important to me is we cannot be perfect. We don't know every industry. So if I have a weakness in something, I usually involve Phil. Phil, vice versa, gets me involved. Or we have people who are specialists in certain fields. And we'll do a research on our members and find somebody.
A good example of that is Ying's Kitchen, which I talked about a few minutes ago, which is Ying was having some issues in their manufacturing, and we had one of our clients here in the Chicago area has great experience in food manufacturing, food processing, food packaging, and we brought that mentor in, and he helped Ying, helped us, helped me learn a lot, helped Ying with some of the issues in terms of quality control with their manufacturer, yes. So we have some 150 volunteers right here in Lake and Cook County, and we have a database, and we know most of them personally, and even then we have a database we can search when we're looking for particular skills or particular industries. So yes, you're right, Vita, it's very much we try to find the right resource or the right tools that can help the client with the issues that they're facing.
And that keeps you growing, doesn't it?
Very
Because
much
I
so.
know as we expand here, it keeps me growing, and I really enjoy that. I really get a satisfaction out of it. That's really a good thing.
Yeah.
The two of you give workshops also?
I have done some workshops in the past. I don't do them currently, but that's some of the volunteer I've done. I did the planning workshop and the accounting cash flow workshop for a few years.
Well, say, like, for example, if a person is coming in, would they first go to be, would you act as a consultant, to direct them?
Either way. We work both ways. If you go to our website, we offer a course downtown almost every day. We offer courses at Fremont Library. We offer courses at the Evanston Library, at the Skokie Library. You can find these courses at workshops. They're on our website, or in the case of the library, you can generally go to the library website and find them. They're either free in some cases or a nominal expense to pay for our expenses of not the volunteers who give them, but pay for paper and pencils and that kind of thing and putting them on. So, but you can go to the website and they're there. So we do a lot. Here in the metropolitan area, we do any number of courses. Like I said, almost one a day downtown, and at the libraries in the area, there are also workshops, and they range all the way from how do you start a business, includes how do you market on the internet, includes international trade. I want to sell my product in Germany, or I want to import something from Mexico. So with a whole range of topics that are available through workshops, and people come to us. Some people go to a workshop first. Some people sign up for a mentoring session first.
Say a person has an idea in their head and they don't know how to bring that idea into a reality. Would you help them, like, for a business?
Absolutely, I would.
You see, because that's a big area. I have people asking me questions about that.
That's an extremely common approach. Someone will come in and they will have an idea. And we will really start working with them. I personally, and I know Phil and I both do it, is let's give a kind of a case study. It's not a real one, but it's one that typically might happen. Someone will come up and say, I make great chili, so I want to start a restaurant. And our next question is, well, have you ever worked in a restaurant? If they haven't, we kind of counsel them on how they really need to learn that field and what they need to learn.
That's interesting.
Then the next thing I always ask, and I know Phil is always with me on it, is why should someone come to your restaurant? What makes you better than somebody else?
Oh, I see.
Who is your competition?
Oh, that's good.
And who do you want to sell to?
That's really good,
So it's a great deal. You kind of draw them out. And then we start doing a business plan on how to execute to reach that.
We are a funny group of volunteers. We really like business plans.
Yeah, really.
Most people come to us, they're a little bit, to find a business plan, a little bit foreboding and not sure how to go about it. And if somebody comes to us and says, we need to write a business plan, we always say you're in the right spot, because it's something that I enjoy reading business plans. I enjoy helping people with business plans, and that makes us a little bit unique in the world.
Well, you know, I know that I'm a creative person, and so a lot of people have discussions with me about creativity, and you know, I have an idea about it that you absolutely need a form of a structure in order to be creative. You just can't, and you need a structure with everything. Like when the two of you came in today, we had, it's not a tight structure, but a structure, you know, how we will go about this show so that it makes sense and you have some cohesiveness to it. So I'm right with you as far as that is, that a plan, you know, a plan, any kind of plan for what you're doing is going to help you be successful in that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And now, if each one of you could say briefly the kind of a gratification you're getting out of it, your passion, what are you getting back?
Well, I think, again, as I said, I think the main thing for me is the satisfaction, the gratification of meeting a whole lot of new people that I didn't know before, sitting down and learning about them.
I have to rush you through this because we only got about 10 seconds left.
Same thing, but also learning.
Okay, when you come to the end of the line, you end of your rope, tie a knot, and hold on. You know why? Because the best is yet to come, and what we want you all to do this week is catch the spirit.